Before anything ever manifests in your hands, it first forms in your head. Your life does not rise or fall based on your circumstances alone. It rises or falls based on your mindset. Your mind is the soil where everything grows. Faith grows there, doubt grows there, vision takes root there, so does fear. You can be free in your body and still bound in your mind. You can be surrounded by opportunity and still live like you're in lack, because your mind hasn't caught up with your environment. That's how powerful it is. The real war is not around you. It's within you. The battle is not on the outside. It's being fought every day in the unseen realm of your thoughts. You don't need a sword to fight it. You need a renewed mindset. That's why the word says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." Not as a man earns, not as a man appears, not as a man dresses, but as a man thinks. That tells me my identity, my direction, my breakthrough, even my bondage, is tied to what I've allowed in my mind. This is why the enemy always attacks you through thoughts before anything else. He doesn't have to chain your feet if he can chain your mind. If he can plant the right lie, you'll sabotage yourself. You'll step out of blessings because you don't believe you deserve them. You'll talk yourself out of opportunities because you still think like who you used to be. You'll keep relationships that hurt you because your mind says that's all you're worth. The war is mental. The prison is invisible. The key is revelation. Satan is not creative. He's strategic. He studies your fears. He remembers your traumas, and he uses them to build arguments in your head. You'll never be good enough. They'll never accept you. You always mess it up. It's too late. These are not just negative thoughts. They are strongholds, and strongholds don't come down with emotion. They come down with truth. If your mind is a battlefield, then your thoughts are soldiers, and not every soldier is fighting for you. Some are spies sent to sabotage. Some are rogue ideas pulling you backward. You've got to start interrogating your thoughts. Where did this thought come from? Who sent it? What is it trying to produce in me? You cannot afford to entertain every voice. Some voices come dressed in your own tone, but were born from fear, shame, or generational trauma. Just because it feels familiar doesn't mean it's safe. You have to train your mind to be a weapon, not a liability. That means discipline in what you allow in. Every movie, every conversation, every scroll, every song. It's either feeding your faith or draining it. You have to guard your gates. You wouldn't let someone dump trash in your house. So why let it in your head? You wouldn't let a snake into your bed. So why let bitterness curl up in your thoughts? Understand this. Your mind is an incubator. It doesn't just receive, it multiplies. You think one thought of fear, and if you don't check it, by the end of the day, you've created a whole narrative of failure. You imagine one problem, and suddenly you're preparing for 10 disasters that haven't even happened. The mind will build movies out of moments, because it's not just a container, it's a creator. And if it's not filled with truth, it will start scripting tragedy. Now here's the danger. The longer you think something, the more you believe it. The more you believe it, the more you behave according to it. The more you behave according to it, the more you build your life around it. That's how people end up living in prisons built by their own patterns, not because of a lack of opportunity, but because of a lack of mental freedom. You can't live a victorious life with a defeated mind. You can't walk in purpose while thinking in fear. The system will collapse. Eventually, the life around you will mirror the thoughts within you. That's why God doesn't just change your situation. He changes your perspective. He doesn't just bless you with new surroundings. He gives you a new spirit, a new mindset, a new way to look at life. Because if he gave you a blessing, but you still had an old mind, you'd sabotage the blessing. You'd reject the help. You'd waste the opportunity. So before he raises you up, he renews your mind. Before he calls you forward, he reprograms your thinking. So I urge you, with all the power and authority God has placed in me, to say this. Train your mind. Study the Word. Read books that build you. Surround yourself with conversations that sharpen you. Don't just protect your body, protect your thoughts. Don't just feed your family, feed your mind, because your mind is a weapon, and the war you're fighting is not for your past, it's for your future. Load your mind with light, and darkness has to flee. Fill it with faith, and fear loses its grip. Keep your mind sharp, because the sharpest sword is useless in the hand of someone who doesn't believe they can fight. But when your mind is ready, when your mind is anchored in truth, fixed in purpose, and grounded in wisdom, there is no enemy that can stop what God has started in you. If your mind is a weapon, then the ammunition it fires is information. What you load into your mind determines what you can release when pressure hits. You don't rise to the level of your emotions. You fall to the level of your preparation. And preparation, my friend, comes from what you've learned, what you've studied, what you've absorbed. You cannot expect to fight the battles of life with an empty clip. You've got to load your mind with knowledge, with wisdom, with truth, because that's what gives you power under pressure. You see, you don't win in the ring. You win in the gym. You don't win in the meeting. You win in the moments you spent researching, rehearsing, refining. You don't overcome challenges just by shouting and sweating. You overcome them because you were equipped before the challenge ever showed up. That's why information is not a luxury. It's a necessity. The Bible says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge," not because they didn't love God, not because they didn't have potential. They perished because they lacked knowledge. Ignorance is not just a weakness. It's a weapon formed against you, and it's one the enemy uses well. Let me make it plain. The enemy wants you emotionally hyped but mentally empty. He doesn't mind you dancing if you're not thinking. He doesn't mind you shouting if you're not studying, because he knows that an untrained mind will always misfire. You can have passion and still make poor decisions if you don't have proper information. That's why the Word of God is not just spiritual. It's strategic. It doesn't just inspire you, it instructs you, it arms you, it equips you for the battles of life, because when life hits, and oh, it will hit, you don't want to be the person scrambling for a weapon you never prepared. Information is how you load your mind. It's how you develop your aim. You can't hit targets you don't understand. You can't fix problems you don't study. You can't win wars you haven't prepared for. So, if your life feels like it's spinning, if your confidence is crumbling, if your relationships are suffering, maybe it's not a lack of love. It's a lack of information. Maybe it's not that you're cursed. It's that you're uninformed. That's why you've got to become a student of life, a student of the Word, a student of your craft, a student of your calling. Don't just pray for victory, study for it. Don't just hope for opportunity, prepare for it. Because when your moment comes, it won't wait for you to Google the answer. You've got to already know. You've got to already be loaded. Life doesn't slow down for the unprepared, and purpose doesn't wait for the passive. This is why what you read matters, what you listen to matters, who you talk to matters. Every conversation is either loading you or depleting you. Every habit is either sharpening your weapon or dulling your edge. You can't spend your nights consuming foolishness and expect to walk in wisdom. You can't flood your mind with gossip and expect to speak with power. You've got to be intentional about what goes in, because what goes in will come out, especially when you're under pressure. The most dangerous person in the room is not always the loudest. It's the one who knows the most, the one who studied when no one was watching, the one who read the fine print, the one who didn't just feel passionate but was prepared with precision. That's who leads, that's who builds, that's who wins. The world may try to promote entertainment over education, feelings over facts, but real transformation is fueled by revelation, by understanding. By insight, hear me, you don't need more inspiration if you're not going to match it with information, because emotion fades, but education lasts, And the right piece of information at the right time can change your life. One truth can break a lie you've believed for years. One principle can shift your finances. One piece of wisdom can heal your relationships. But you've got to seek it. You've got to pursue it like it's gold, because it is. So keep loading your weapon. Study the Word, read good books, listen to wise people, ask questions, take notes. Don't be satisfied with surface thinking. Dig deeper. Don't settle for shallow living. Go further. Because when life comes to test what you've built, it's not your emotions that will pass the test. It's your preparation. You may not control what storms come, but you can control how equipped you are when they arrive. Don't wait for the fight to start sharpening your sword. Don't wait for the crisis to start learning what you need to know. Keep your mind loaded, and you'll always be ready. Because when your mind is filled with truth, when your thoughts are armed with wisdom, when your heart is led by understanding, you become dangerous, not just to the enemy, but to ignorance, to stagnation, to mediocrity. You become a leader, a builder, a breaker of generational curses, a student who becomes a strategist. So I say to you again, information is ammunition. Keep your weapon loaded. Keep your mind ready. Because life doesn't wait, and destiny only opens to those who are prepared to fight for it. A weapon is only as effective as the discipline of the one who carries it. You can have the sharpest sword, the most powerful firearm, the most advanced technology, but if you don't maintain it, if you don't practice with it, if you don't know how to handle it under pressure, then it becomes a danger to you and useless in the heat of battle. The same is true with your mind. Your mind is a weapon, but it must be sharpened through daily discipline. Intelligence alone is not enough. Gifting alone is not enough. Even divine anointing must be partnered with discipline to reach its full potential. It's not what you have. It's how you handle what you have. Many people are walking around with potential that has gone dull, brilliance that's been buried under procrastination, vision that's been smothered by distraction. They started with clarity, but they didn't maintain it. They had ideas, but no follow-through. They had prayers, but no preparation, and when the challenge showed up, they had nothing ready, not because they weren't called, but because they weren't disciplined. Discipline is the grind behind the glory. It's what happens when the lights are off, when the crowd is gone, when there's no applause, no affirmation. Just you and the quiet decision to keep sharpening your edge, to keep reading, to keep showing up, to keep your thoughts in order, to keep your emotions in check. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel, it demands what you committed to. And your future will not be built by your feelings. It will be built by your follow-through. We live in a generation that celebrates passion but often neglects discipline. People want results without routine. They want platforms without process. They want harvest without seed time. But God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. And discipline is the seed you sow daily to become the person you were designed to be. If you're not sharpening your mind, you're dulling it by default. There is no standing still. You're either growing or decaying, and the difference is discipline. Look at anyone successful, spiritually, mentally, professionally, and you'll find behind them a structure, a system, a set of habits that governs their life. They don't wait to feel inspired to be excellent. They build excellence into their lifestyle. They study even when they're tired. They pray when no one's watching. They rehearse when no one's clapping. They know that the battle is won before the enemy shows up. They live ready. They stay sharp. You don't sharpen a sword by accident. It's a deliberate act. You have to rub it against the stone. It's the friction, the resistance, the pressure that makes the blade precise. The same is true for your mind. Discipline is uncomfortable. It's not always exciting, but it's working something in you that ease never could. It's building focus in a distracted world. It's building character in a culture obsessed with charisma. It's making you strong when life tries to shake you. Because when your discipline is in place, storms may come, but they won't break you. Temptations may rise, but they won't sway you. Fear may whisper, but it won't lead you. You cannot live a sharp life with a sloppy mindset. You cannot be powerful and passive at the same time. There must be order in your thoughts, consistency in your habits, intentionality in your learning. The more refined your discipline, the more accurate your decisions, and accuracy matters when your destiny is on the line. One wrong cut, one delayed reaction, one untrained moment, and you can forfeit what God has prepared for you. That's why discipline is not punishment, it's protection. It's not bondage, it's building. It's the structure that sustains the weight of your calling. Think of Jesus in the wilderness. Before he ever worked a miracle, before he ever taught a crowd, he spent 40 days in solitude, in prayer, in fasting. He was preparing, sharpening, and when the enemy showed up with temptation, Jesus didn't panic. He didn't guess. He didn't run. He responded with the word, because he had loaded his mind with truth and disciplined his soul through sacrifice. That's our example. If you wait until the test to start studying, you're already behind. Discipline isn't always dramatic. It's in the little things, waking up on time, finishing what you start, saying no when your feelings scream yes, studying when your friends are sleeping, writing when you don't feel creative. It's small blades striking the stone over and over, shaping something dangerous in the spirit, something that will pierce through confusion, something that will slice through lies, something that will defend your purpose. So if you feel like life is demanding more from you, good, that's the signal that you're ready to go deeper, ready to grow stronger, ready to become more focused. Stop waiting for someone to come sharpen you. Pick up the grindstone, build your routine, clean up your environment, set your goals, stick to your word, because when your mind is disciplined, it becomes a deadly weapon in the hands of purpose. And when your time comes, and it will come, you won't have to get ready. You'll be ready. Your mind won't stutter, your spirit won't shake, your words won't falter, because you were forged in the fire of consistency, sharpened in the silence, trained in the shadows. And now, when the light shines, you'll stand strong, not just because you're gifted, but because you're grounded. You can't keep a pure stream flowing if you allow poison to pour into the source. Your thoughts are shaped by what you expose your mind to, and your mind is shaped by the environment you allow it to live in. You cannot create peace in chaos. You cannot build purpose in pollution. You cannot grow clarity in confusion. If your mind is a weapon, then the space around it must be protected like a battlefield base, because what surrounds you eventually gets inside you. This is where many people lose the fight, not because they were weak, but because they let the wrong voices speak into their space. You can be disciplined, focused, even anointed, but if you consistently allow negativity, drama, gossip, fear, and foolishness to live in your mental environment, it will wear down your edge. Over time, your mind will start to bend in the direction of what it's constantly hearing. You'll start repeating lies like they're truth. You'll normalize dysfunction. You'll tolerate toxic habits because you've become numb to them. The environment you allow around your mind will either feed your strength or fuel your struggle. If you let people speak defeat around you long enough, you'll stop expecting victory. If you let mediocrity surround you daily, excellence will start to feel like arrogance. If you let fear set the tone in your atmosphere, you'll stop dreaming bold dreams and start managing small expectations. Your environment is not neutral. It is always pushing you in a direction. The question is it pushing you toward your purpose or pulling you into your past? That's why you must become the gatekeeper of your mind. You must learn how to guard your atmosphere with intentionality. You can't afford to let just anyone speak into your soul. Not every friend is a covering. Some people are companions, but not confidants. Some voices are loud, but not wise. You've got to discern the difference between noise and wisdom, between counsel and confusion. Just because someone is close to you doesn't mean they deserve access to your mental space. It's not just people. It's also what you watch, what you read, what you scroll, what you allow to play in the background of your life. The shows you binge, the music you absorb, the headlines you consume. They are all crafting a narrative in your mind. They are sowing seeds, and you will eventually eat the fruit of what you've been feeding on. You can't fill your mind with chaos and then pray for peace. You can't live on spiritual junk food and expect a strong, stable life. If your thoughts are the fuel for your future, you better pay attention to what you're putting in the tank. You must learn how to detox your mind. Sometimes that means stepping away from people who drain your spirit. Sometimes it means turning off the noise and spending time in silence. Sometimes it means reevaluating your routines, cutting off the shows, turning down the music, and sitting with the Word of God until your thinking aligns again, until your soul starts to breathe again, until the clutter clears and your spirit can hear truth without static. Peace is not something that finds you, it's something you cultivate. You create it by setting boundaries, by protecting your focus, by curating your environment like your life depends on it. Because it does. One toxic voice can keep you bound for years. One bad influence can derail a destiny. One open gate can let in an entire army of confusion. That's why you have to be fierce about your focus. You've got to protect your peace like it's a sacred space, because it is. Even Jesus, in all his power, often withdrew from the crowd. He didn't stay in noisy rooms. He stepped away to pray. He understood that the atmosphere around you affects the clarity within you. You can't hear God clearly when the room is filled with clutter. You can't build what heaven gave you when you're surrounded by people who mock the very vision you carry. You need space to think, to heal, to discern, to build. That's not selfish. That's survival. Guarding your mind doesn't mean isolating yourself in fear. It means creating an environment where growth is possible, where faith can flourish, where vision can expand, where focus can remain sharp. You're not just guarding against what's bad, you're making room for what's good. You're saying yes to peace, yes to purpose, yes to progress. Because if your mental space is clear, your decisions become sharper, your emotions stay steadier, your purpose stays visible. So take inventory of your environment. Look around and ask, what am I hearing every day? What am I allowing to influence my thinking? Who is in my circle? And what are they contributing to my clarity or confusion? What am I feeding my mind when I'm alone? Because your destiny is too important to leave it vulnerable to random voices. Your future is too precious to let it be poisoned by careless conversations. Your mind is a battlefield, and you must guard the gates. God can give you the vision. He can give you the promise. He can give you the power. But you must create the space where that vision can live, where that promise can grow, and where that power can be sharpened. And it all begins with your atmosphere. Keep it pure. Keep it focused. Keep it holy, because when your environment aligns with your purpose, your mind becomes unstoppable, and your future becomes unshakable. Your thoughts are not just private whispers inside your head. They are the architects of your reality. What you think consistently, you begin to believe, and what you believe, you eventually become. But your thoughts are not fixed. They are shaped, molded, and transformed by the words you speak over them. You have the divine power to influence your internal world by the declarations you release into the atmosphere. If your mind is a weapon, your words are the hand that aims it. If you don't speak life, death will echo in your silence. The word says, death and life are in the power of the tongue, not in your education, not in your connections, not even in your circumstances, but in your tongue. And yet, too many people are assassinating their own destiny with their own language. They curse themselves with their words, calling themselves stupid, calling themselves failures, reinforcing fear, doubt, and defeat without realizing they are weaponizing their own mouth against their mind. But if you're going to win in life, if you're going to rise in purpose, you've got to learn how to speak life, even when everything around you looks dead. You must become fluent in the language of life. That means you wake up in the morning and speak what you want to see, not what you currently see. You speak purpose, not pressure. You speak healing, not hurt. You speak clarity, not confusion. It doesn't mean you ignore reality. It means you refuse to be imprisoned by it. Your words are prophetic. Your mouth is a microphone for your mind. So when fear whispers, you declare faith. When anxiety creeps in, you proclaim peace. When doubt shows up, you respond with declaration. Think about how powerful your internal dialogue is. If you continually tell yourself, "I can't," your brain will search for reasons to support that belief. But if you start saying, "I will figure this out," your mind opens up to solutions. You change your thought pattern by changing your speech pattern. You don't have to wait until you feel confident to talk like a conqueror. You speak it until you believe it. You confess it until your thoughts catch up with your words. Sometimes your mind is waiting for your mouth to lead. And this is not just positive thinking. It's spiritual strategy. The enemy doesn't have to destroy you if he can get you to destroy yourself. He plants the lie, but you water it with repetition. He whispers defeat, and you echo it until it becomes your reality. That's why speaking life isn't optional. It's survival. It's how you override the lies. It's how you silence the inner critic. It's how you shift the atmosphere within your soul. Because no matter what's happening around you, you still control what comes out of you. Your voice is a weapon. You don't have to raise your voice to raise your standard. You don't have to shout to shift your spirit. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is speak softly, steadily, consistently, truth over fear, hope over doubt, discipline over chaos. Declare what God says about you. Declare what the Word says about your situation. Declare what your future will be, even when your present looks like a contradiction. Because when you keep speaking life, your thoughts will align, your heart will catch fire, and your actions will begin to move in the direction of your destiny. There are people who would be further ahead if they just changed the way they talk to themselves. You can be intelligent and still defeated by your self-talk. You can be gifted and still limited by your own language. It's not what others say about you that holds you back. It's what you say to yourself when no one else is listening. You've got to correct that inner voice. You've got to discipline your speech until your words become seeds of life, not weapons of destruction. Look at David. He didn't wait for someone to encourage him. The Bible says he encouraged himself in the Lord. He spoke life when everyone else walked away. He praised when the pressure was heavy. He declared victory when defeat seemed inevitable. That's the kind of resilience you must build, because life won't always send you cheerleaders. Sometimes all you've got is your voice. And that voice must be trained to speak life, speak hope, speak strength. And let's be clear, speaking life is not denial, it's defiance, it's refusing to surrender your mind to darkness, it's standing in the face of fear and saying, "I still believe." It's walking through the valley of the shadow of death and saying, "I will fear no evil." Your words don't have to match your surroundings. They must match your calling. And your calling requires clarity, confidence, and courage. Those things are forged in the fire of intentional speech. So from this moment on, guard your words like gold. Before you speak, ask yourself, is this life or death? Is this building or breaking? Is this faith or fear? Is this complaint or confession? Because every word you speak is either reinforcing your mental strength or slowly corroding it. Speak life when you're tired. Speak life when you're tempted. Speak life when you're tested. Keep speaking until your thoughts submit, your spirit aligns, and your path opens. Your voice is not weak. It's powerful. Your words are not empty. They are alive. So use them with purpose. Speak life over your day, over your future, over your family, over your dreams, and especially over your own mind. Because when you speak life, you breathe strength into your thoughts, fire into your focus, and faith into your fight. And that's how you win, not just once, but daily. Now hear me, because I want you to get this deep down in your spirit. Your mind is not ordinary. It is not random. It is not weak. It is a divine weapon, crafted by the Creator, capable of building destiny, conquering fear, and breaking generational curses. But like any weapon, its power is not automatic. It must be loaded. It must be sharpened. It must be guarded. It must be aimed with precision. You load your mind with knowledge, because empty minds are easily manipulated. You sharpen it with discipline, because dull thinking leads to dull living. You protect it with intentional environments, because your surroundings become your internal soundtrack. You speak life into it, because your words write the code your thoughts will execute. And through it all, you never stop preparing, never stop building, never stop aiming that mental weapon toward your purpose. The battle of life is fought in the mind before it's ever seen in the world. You don't win in your hands before you win in your head. That's why the enemy doesn't attack your feet. He attacks your focus. He doesn't go after your talent. He goes after your thoughts. Because if he can disarm your mind, he doesn't need to touch anything else. But when your mind is strong, when it is full of truth, when it is governed by wisdom, when it is fed by discipline, and when it is fueled by faith, there is nothing you cannot overcome. So I challenge you right now, not next week, not when you feel ready, but now, train your mind. Guard your gates. Control your thoughts. Speak your future. Load that weapon and keep it loaded, because the war is real. The stakes are high, but the victory is yours. If your mind is ready, now go. And be dangerous in purpose, in focus, in faith, because your mind is your weapon. So keep it loaded.